this is Paul. We are here to preview the West Virginia versus Brigham Young game, BYU, B-U-Y, what is it, the B-U-Y?
Brigham Young University. I don't have a whole lot to say about these boys. We saw them a year or two ago when we went up to
more than a year or two, but us old people, yeah.
We went up to DC and watched them at FedEx Field. That was the only time I think we played these guys in the past.
We played them and we won that game 35-32, had a goal line stand at the end. Skylar Howard threw for 300 and some yards. Rasul Douglas had a pick six, which we saw came right to us. That was great.
That was the last time we had a quarterback that I was delighted with until now.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was a fun trip. It was good. And we won and we rode the Metro and everything. It was all right. But we play them Saturday night on the 4th, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, if you get that channel. So
let me tell you a little bit about BYU. So their season up till now, they're 5-3. They beat Sam Houston 14-0. Now Sam Houston's a real toughie. They were Sam Houston's 0-5 in Conference USA. So that was their cupcake.
Well, that was their beginning game. That was easy.
They clobbered South Utah. I didn't even know there was a South Utah. They beat them 41-16. South Utah is 3-5 in the WAC
It was
conference.
an in-state, so it was probably a big rivalry thing.
Then the one that they're pleased with is that they beat Arkansas 38-31. Arkansas is 2-6 in the SEC. They've got a big reputation. I think they suck.
That was the only game they won on the road. They've won 4 games. They've won all 3 of them at home. That was their only road victory.
And Arkansas only has 2 wins this year. Their wins are over Western Carolina and Kent State. Now, in fairness to Arkansas, they've been beat by good teams.
Texas A&M, Alabama.
But there's no reason to believe Arkansas is any good this year. Then BYU lost to Kansas 38-27. So Kansas is a good team, 6-2. They beat Cincinnati 35-27. Cincinnati's 2-6
in Provo, Utah,
and not what they thought they'd be. They lost to TCU. 44-11. They put 11 points up on that.
TCU smashed them.
And TCU's got a 4-4 record, including losses to the Mountaineers.
West Virginia.
They beat Texas Tech 27-14. They didn't put a lot of points up, but they did beat Texas Tech.
Texas Tech turned the ball over 5 times against them, and that's why they won that game.
Texas Tech's got a 3-5 record. And then they lost to Texas in a game that they were hanging in there against a 7-1 Texas team. Right up until late in the game, but they lost it 35-6. So they've lost close, but they haven't beaten anybody with a winning record.
They've lost 3 games on the road. All 3 of them pretty good teams. I mean, Texas and Kansas, no one can deny. I think TCU's a pretty good team, but they lost down there. We actually went down there and won, so you compare that, we should be able to beat them in our place. But they've only got one.
The odds makers think we're a better team, and they think we're going to win at home because they've given us 6 points, 6 or 6.5.
Well, it was 7, I think, and now I think it's jumped up close to 10. Yeah. So I don't like to be the favorite.
No, because West Virginia has a tendency to think they can mail it in, and they can't. They have to play mean every game. But they were given the TCU game and some of the others. They've got a reputation for turnovers. They take them away from you.
You know that they're tied for the best in the Big 12 for most turnovers produced in the game. In fact, they're 3rd in the nation in turnovers and getting turnovers. They've had at least 2 in every game except for the Kansas game.
I think they lost the turnover battle against Texas too. I think it was 3-2.
They turned it over themselves.
Yeah,
that's
they
the problem.
Over
they get turnovers on their defense, but they turn it over themselves. That's exactly.
And
right.
some of the other warts on their record is against TCU. The TCU converted 12 of 19 third downs, 63%, while Brigham Young only converted 2 out of 14. Yeah. So and they lost that game 44-11. That's a bad offense. Yeah. I think they've got a questionable offense. If you're into the nerd stuff, and you know I'm not, but BYU has an offense ranked 84th. West Virginia's offense is 30. BYU's defense is ranked 44th. West Virginia's got a weaker defense, ranked 68.
Well, I'll take it a step farther. They played 8 games. They're 5-3, right? They're averaging getting outscored in every game. They're 25-6 to 24. They're averaging giving up more passing yards per game, 236 to 218. They're averaging giving up more rushing yards per game, 154 to 81. How's this team 5-3? And I mean, the other teams score more, they get more yards against them all the time. I'll tell you how they are. Third nationally in getting turnovers.
They beat Sam Houston and South Utah. That's two right there. Take that away, and they're 3-3.
Well, take away Kansas and Texas, and then
but we're talking about
take away Houston and Oklahoma State, and we're 5-1.
Remember, you get fat on cupcakes.
Understandable. And
that's somebody. You got to write that down.
I don't understand. I don't believe in scales. I think that's just a myth they made up years ago.
If you don't eat a lot of cupcakes, you don't get fat. You have to stay lean.
And if that wasn't bad enough, then you could say, well, their defense gets a lot of turnovers. Their offense isn't really good. They're pretty good on special teams, right? No, they've given up 2 punt returns for touchdowns. Their kicker's been pretty good, but look for Preston Fox this week to maybe break one.
They've had trouble with their kick returns as well.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good kicker. Will Farron is a pretty good kicker. I think they got a lot of problems. I think they're weak at safety. I think they're thin at their tackle position. They've got a couple of good tackles, but they don't have much to back them up. I think they have trouble running the ball. I think, and I've seen some of their board people say, they're slow. Their offensive line is slow, and while their running backs are big, they're not particularly fast. So linebackers should be able to close the hole and stop them from running. I don't know why they haven't in the past, but they can throw the ball.
They also have, someone's got this stat of 120 missed tackles.
Ooh.
I think we missed a lot of tackles, and we did miss a lot of them against Oklahoma State. 8 games, 120 missed tackles. My goodness, we need to expose that. But I'll tell you this. So here's what I think about them. I'll give you an overview, or we can get into some other numbers about some of the players. Overview, I think their offense is pretty weak, and I think they'll tell you that they know that. And I think they're pretty strong on defense, not so much stopping people, but getting the ball. So it may just simply come down to the turnovers in this game. But
my compliments for them, I don't have much more to add other than they're big. Mm-hmm. They have 2 big backs. They have Adian Robbins and L.J. Martin. Robbins is 240 pounds, 6'3". Martin is 205 pounds, 6'2". Their wide receivers are big. Chase Roberts is 6'4", 210 pounds. And Darius Lassiter is 6'3", 205 pounds. In fact, even Keanu Hill is 6'4", 215 pounds. And our honored cornerback is what, 5'8", 5'9". So he'd be giving up a half a foot to a foot on some of these guys.
Tall doesn't necessarily mean good. So, but let me change this a little bit. They've got a quarterback, number 10. His name's Keaton Slovis.
I was just going to talk about him.
Don't remember who that is. He played for Pittsburgh last year, and before the first game of the season, once we played against them, they had a little rally at Pittsburgh before the game, and that's fine. You know, you get excited. But he used like the F word about West Virginia. Now, I guess he probably didn't know that in the future at some point he'd transfer to a team that was going to come into Morgantown to play. I think we need to remind him of those words on Saturday.
He ducked West Virginia this year because he wasn't on the Pitt squad when we beat Pitt in Morgantown.
Right.
Now we're going to get him on the Central Florida squad, and he's a very...
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, BYU. There's too many letters.
Yeah, so that's true. UCF, BYU,
yes,
WVU, what is all that business? Give me names.
But he's coming in here under Central Florida,
BYU. Do that same thing again. Those who can't remember the past.
I said this before.
Take 2. Deja vu.
Okay, he's a Mormon now.
Yeah.
He's gone from being a Pitt player to a Mormon.
Like Raheem Ismail went to Notre Dame to be a Catholic, but moving on.
He's a workman-like quarterback,
yes.
But he's nothing special. He's a Jared Dagey type quarterback. He's not very mobile. He'll put the ball where it needs to be if you give him a lot of time, but he's not good enough to beat us.
He'll
And
make
I'd
mistakes,
like
too.
to see our boys plant him once or twice.
12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, not a real good percentage in it through 8 games. So they're not going to ride him to big victories. That's not the way they want to play. They want to play a lot like we do. They want to control the ball game. They want to control the ball, control the time of possession, and not give the other team's offense much chance. And then they have a defense that forces turnovers. That's the way they want to play. I don't think they're going to be real successful at that Saturday. And just to mention, Martin 27, like you say, he only runs 62 yards a game. He does score 4 touchdowns though. They got Robbins and Davis.
They use him for short yardage.
They do a number of people. In fact, what jumped out at me when I looked at stats is that they don't have one guy, one runner, one receiver that they go to a lot. They got Roberts and Lassiter. They even throw to the tight end Rex, who's 83, like 57 yards a game, 43 yards a game, and 41 yards a game for Roberts, Lassiter, and Rex. So they're going to spread it around.
Sounds like a law firm.
That's right.
Roberts, Lassiter, and Rex.
They're only a call away from Rex.
Or the names you give your
Lassiter
3 dogs.
and Associates.
Come here, Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be bothering Lassiter over there.
That's right.
All right, stop.
Get down, Rex. Get down.
I thought the dog's name was Get Down. That's I never knew that. That's you had a dog there for a while.
The
But the dog's name was Get Down.
Get down. Get off me. It's Slovis.
Slovis, yeah. he's
Slovis is, I don't know what that translates into, but we need to plant number 10.
Oh, I agree.
And
we need to knock him around good.
And I always worry when the Mountaineers are
I
favored.
don't like
And
it
when the Mountaineers are favored and they're playing at home, and there's a real tendency for us to relax a little bit. I think this is the team that won't do it.
I agree.
I think this is the team that may roll up their sleeves and get to work. And if they do, I think we romp.
Well, we got that excitable quarterback who's really good at getting people fired up, which I like. That's what I love about him. Just real quickly, a couple of guys on their defense, I will say that the difference is they've got 2 guys that pretty much make all the tackles on their defense. And that is Tooley, 31, the linebacker, and number 10, I'm not even going to try, Von Spacha, but 55 and 52 tackles. Batty, the defensive end, 92, is the one that rushes the passer. And they've got another linebacker, 0, his name's Robinson, who's got 4 interceptions. You know, that's a lot of interceptions. Beanie Bishop's got 4, and he's up there in the nation. This guy's right up there, too.
Yeah.
So, again, they get the ball. We can't let them get the ball from us. Don't turn the ball over. They will turn it over, and we win this game. It's just we've got to play if we play a clean game like we did against UCF, this won't be close.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If we play disciplined football, we didn't throw an interception, we didn't fumble away the ball a lot, we didn't have a lot of penalties in the early games and against UCF.
Mm-hmm.
It is UCF, right? Yeah.
Yes.
UCF. If we do that again and make our tackles and stay in our lanes, I think our quarterback and our offense put up some big points against these guys.
But your point is so well taken, because when we are favored, we're at home. It's the true blue and the military appreciation, and we've got to get down. We've got to take care of business. Taking care of business is what we got to do.
I'm not sure this is the team that has the temperament that plays well coming back. I think this is a team that needs to play ahead so they relax and play better ball.
I was really into that last week. I thought that Central Florida game we needed to. In fact, I sent you that text early on. I said we got to jump on these guys early, and we did, and it was perfect. This game here, I don't know that it's going to matter as much personally. We got to avoid the mistake. Avoid the mistakes.
We also have a bad tendency to let even bad teams get into the game and think they can beat us. And if you get down on them early, then they make mistakes.
Right.
Then your confidence rises.
Right.
And especially with a quarterback whose inner voice is yelling all the time.
Man, they averaged giving up 154 yards rushing a game. Average. I think we've had that string of 140 yards rushing in every game. If we do this again and don't turn the ball over, I think this one.
The only reason I would tell you don't bet on West Virginia with that high of a spread is our ball control offense will want to keep possession, and Mr. Brown will be very content to run the ball for 3 or 4 yards a pop and take up a lot of times, and that doesn't put a lot of points up on the board.
Yeah.
At least not as many as the Bolyuds would want.
Some of the others that we won't mention.
A lot of good Big 12 football on this.
There
weekend.
is. You got Bedlam this week. You got Kansas State and Texas, which is going to be a lot of fun too. And Houston plays Baylor. Very interested in see what happens in that game. I mean, Houston's like the little brother of Baylor, but Baylor's not real good. So obviously, I don't think I could ever root for Houston ever, as long as that coach is there. But I'm really not much of a Baylor fan either. But and then you got Kansas and Iowa State, and that could be interesting too. So
a lot of close games in the Big 12, and here's what we need to scramble. We need to win, and we need to scramble so the Mountaineers end up in the Big 12 championship where they belong.
I think it's going to be a tough ask this year. So for that to happen, we need Oklahoma to beat Oklahoma State, right? So that would mess them up, give them a second loss in the conference. And we would want Kansas State to beat Texas.
Texas and Oklahoma to lose.
Right, we always want Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, that's.
And then we'll.
But see, we actually want Oklahoma to beat Oklahoma State.
Well, we'll beat Oklahoma.
Because then we'll beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, we'll handle it ourselves. Then we have to beat them again in the championship.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
But I want those two teams going to the SEC
agree.
with their tail between their legs.
It would be wonderful if neither one of them were in the Big 12 championship game.
Yep.
That would
Very
be
nice.
fantastic.
Very
So
nice.
anyway. The Saturday night, I think we take care of business. I'm going to say 48-17. We win this one by 31 points.
I'm not going to go quite that high. I'd say like 38 or 39 to 27. But that's still a decisive win and still beat the spread.
I believe it happens. As long as we don't mess it up.
We always can say that.
As like, what's her name
Watch.
said on my cousin Vinny. As long as you don't mess it up. She didn't say mess, but I've got to say that on this podcast.
Why don't you really like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff?
We will
see
give you the review next time. Thank you for watching.
Quoting my cousin Vinny.
I know, but I can't say what I should say.
17.